Hello. This is Adrienne from PlotMD, and in this video I'm going to guide you through how to fill out the stacked funnel tool. So you can see at the top of the page here, I've already filled out the information that we went over in the character arc worksheet video for the character of James Hook. I have his beginning ideal self and his ending true self. And I've also done the same for the second protagonist, Mercy Herrera. I've filled in her ideal self, which is proud, and her ending true self, which is strong. I've filled in the 3 vital questions that we went over in the video, and the theme for the book, which is redemption. So for this video, in the interest of time, I am just going to take you step by step through how to fill out the funnel for Act 1. For the most part, the structure and the purpose behind all of the funnels are the same, which means if you can get down the process behind one, you can understand how to do the rest. So we start here at the top with the first meaningful decision in the book. Now, Hook spends probably more time in the ordinary world than any of my other books, and there's a couple reasons behind this. It is the first in a series, so that naturally needs more setup time. Also, the concept behind the setting in this book, the realm and earth, the differences between the exiles and the causes that they're fighting for, all of those take a little bit of world building, and I wanted to set a firm foundation before moving on to significant action. So because of this, the book opens in the Fey realm, which is one of 3 connected worlds that exist on different planes. And our main protagonist, James Hook, is in the middle of trying to steal his world's most priceless and most dangerous magical relic, which is a small gem that's the key to opening the gates of the underworld. So just when James thinks that he's gotten away with this crime, he's caught by the palace guards who were led to him by a man he thought was his friend. This character's name is Flint. Of course, James has a really messed up sense of friendship since it becomes clear he's stolen from and he's lied to Flint before. Still, James is very confident that he can get out of this mess because he's gotten out of every other mess he's been in. But this time, things are different. And just like every story, that line is where this book starts. For the first time, James is unable to get out of the mess. And this leads to his first significant decision. And that's the one we're going to write down here at the top of the funnel. So, believing that he cannot fail, he tries to solve all of his problems from a place of vanity in this act. So that's what he's acting out of when he when he demands from King Oberon terms of his exile. That is his first decision. All right. So this decision leads to the consequence of the king creating terms that are seemingly impossible to meet. So we have our first decision and our first consequence. That consequence leads to James, who is now exiled on Earth, deciding to bring the 4 exiles together to one city so that they can begin to meet these terms and to break the curse. What he doesn't tell the other exiles is that he doesn't trust them, and that the only person he cares about getting home is himself. So this action showcases a few things. The first is it shows us that first deep seed, that first and most difficult character trait for him to change, and that is him being selfish. It also sets up his first debt, which is the debt of betrayal. Now, he has betrayed Flint, and he has betrayed the other exiles now. And we know because of this, we'll set it up with a D here, so that we know this is a debt later he is going to have to pay off. So the consequence of him deciding to bring all of the exiles together is that these exiles now want proof that he is trustworthy and that his plan is not a giant waste of time, which is now, for the first time, limited to them. So James decides to agree to a bet. So we have that consequence of them demanding proof and his decision to agree to a bet, that he can make anyone fall in love with him. So we'll put that one in here. He's cornered. All right. So he agrees to this bet that he can make anyone fall in love with him. And so one of the exiles, the consequence of that is one of the exiles chooses their waitress, which happens to be a woman who James had a very unpleasant interaction with earlier in the chapter. And of course, this waitress is our second protagonist, Mercy Herrera. So now she comes into play. Now, once she is cornered by James, she starts solving her problems from her ideal self, which is a place of pride. And that's what she acts out of when he starts to try to make amends. This allows us to see her beginning character traits, those deep emotional seeds of hers, of being controlling, trying to control the situation. And we also get to see her second character trait being planted here. And that's how guarded she is. All right, she doesn't trust him. She is the first person who is actually put off by James's charming ways instead of being attracted to them. And this leads to James getting to show us just how cunning he is. His second character trait that will need changing by the end. This means we get to see it in him. He continues to try to win her over and win her over. And this leads to a lot more frustration. And just when they realize that neither one of them is going to budge, that consequence leads them to both decide to make a deal to get what they want out of each other. So they get frustrated and they decide to make a deal. All right. So as you can see, this is the decision that leads us down to the tightest point in the funnel, the explosion point. And this decision they've made to make a deal forces them to face this first vital question. Do I have a price? This is their first real dilemma. And of course, it turns out they do. They decide that Mercy will go on a single date with James as long as he comes to a fundraiser for her community organization and donates lots and lots of money. So for Mercy, this is the first time she has ever bent one of her ideals. She knows it's for the greater good, but the decision doesn't sit well with her. Even though she's not going to personally benefit from his charity, she knows she's acting like a hypocrite, and that is her first debt. She's saying one thing, and she's doing another, and we know that eventually she will have to pay the price for doing that. Well, for James, this question means something different. This is the first time that he has had to pay to spend time with a woman. His charms are not working with her. He needs to lay down money to get closer to her. And this is his first inkling that maybe things are not going to be as easy as he thought. So, there you go. We have our first fully filled out funnel. And you know what that means? That means it is time for you to go and work on your own funnels. Thank you so much for stopping by, and happy writing.